إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ.
And whenever we speak about the Prophet ﷺ, I initially remember the words of the ulama, the early generation. Whenever they would come to talk about the Prophet ﷺ, the first thing they would say was, "Ma ajmala Muhammada." How beautiful was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And those who had seen him, they would recognize his beauty. It was a physical beauty, but there was an emotional beauty, and there was a beauty of sacrifice. We're going to talk about those three things in the first session, inshallah. When we talk about the beauty of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you can see the beauty of the Prophet ﷺ in moments of his anger, in how he channeled it and how he used it. You can see the beauty of the Prophet ﷺ in his mercy to others, in his admonition of others, in his counsel of others, in his love of others. You could see it in many different dimensions in his life. And I think one of the things for us as Muslims is that we don't talk enough about the Prophet ﷺ amongst each other and amongst others. And the key of the Sahaba's message to the world, which they carried from the Prophet ﷺ, wasn't they were just saying Allah said, but it was more about Muhammad did, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And how the Prophet lived his life. We use this word sunnah very loosely, right? We use this, the term sunnah very loosely. But the concept of sunnah is that it was a path that was walked. And your aim is not to get lost in the jungle, but to follow that path out of it. To go and cross that desert or go through that hostile wilderness that is the world that we live in today and find the surest, least cost, shortest path to safety. That path, that word sunnah is the same word as sharia, is the same word as sirat al-mustaqim. It's just the footsteps of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I think our discourse and dialogue has to begin to change within us as Muslims. And when the ulama of the past, they would always say, you have to follow the sunnah. Their understanding of that was not, you have to follow the hadith as a hadith. It wasn't read this hadith and do it. Their concept of sunnah was practice what was practiced by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And therefore the people who lived in Medina, the people who study the fiqh of Imam Malik, it's just amal ahl Medina. What did the people of Medina do? Like, how did they live their life? How did they talk? How did they act? How do they, what are those things that seek to resemble the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's lifestyle? So for us, don't look at me and say, "Oh, Brother Yahya, he's wearing Sunnah clothes today." No, I'm wearing Arabic clothes, an Arabi, right? There's no difference between what the brother's wearing there and what I'm wearing there in terms of emulation of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet didn't wear this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He wore a shirt, right?